History isn't just about what we remember, it's also about what we've lost. Across the centuries, entire civilizations have thrived, built incredible cities, and then vanished just like the Roanoke colony. No warnings, no explanations, just ruins, artifacts, and a lot of unanswered questions. What happened to the Liangzhu culture, a society so high-tech they built huge irrigation systems over 5,000 years ago? Why did the people of Mod carve an underground city big enough for 70,000 people, only to abandon it completely? These civilizations weren't just lost, they were erased. But why? Well, let's explore 15 civilizations that were completely erased from history, and more importantly, why. By the end, you'll be convinced that the truth is stranger than fiction. Let's start off with number 15, Valeriana Maya City. The Maya civilization built some of the most famous ancient cities, but Valeriana, almost no one talks about it, because it was only discovered in 2024. Basically, it's pretty new. Hidden deep in the Yucatan jungle, this lost city had pyramids, plazas, and ball courts. Yet it never made it into Spanish records, meaning it was already abandoned before the conquistadors arrived. Like many other Maya cities, Valeriana likely fell victim to the mysterious collapse of their civilization. Deforestation, warfare, and droughts are the leading theories as to why the Maya abandoned so many of their cities, and Valeriana seems to fit that pattern. For centuries, the jungle completely swallowed it, hiding it from the world. Now it's still being excavated, and who knows what else might be buried beneath the trees. This city was lost to history, until now. Hope we get something good. Number 14, Scythian civilization. The Scythians were the ultimate warrior nomads, dominating the Eurasian steppes from 900 BCE to 200 CE. They ruled a vast territory stretching from modern Ukraine to Mongolia, and even the Greeks and Persians feared them. Known for their deadly horseback archery, the Scythians didn't just fight. They lived a life of war and artistry, covering their tombs in gold and decorating their bodies with elaborate tattoos. However, because they were nomadic, they never built permanent cities, making it harder for archaeologists to fully piece together their society. Over time, groups like the Sarmatians and the Huns absorbed them, and the Scythians faded from history. Their kurgans, burial mounds, are all that remain, filled with gold, weapons, and skeletons. If they ever had written records, they're long gone. Most of what we know comes from their enemies, the Greeks and Persians, who feared them. DNA studies even suggest that Scythian blood still runs through modern populations in Russia and Central Asia. Number 13, Harappan civilization. The Harappan civilization, also known as the Indus Valley civilization, was one of the most advanced societies of its time. Existing from 3,300 to 1,300 BCE in what is now Pakistan and India, they built massive cities with grid-like layouts, indoor plumbing, and advanced drainage systems, technology that even some modern cities struggle with today. They traded with Mesopotamia and developed a unique writing system that still hasn't been fully deciphered. And interestingly, there's little evidence of warfare or weapons in their ruins, suggesting they may have been a peaceful society. But then, they disappeared. Some theories suggest that climate change dried up their rivers, while others point to mysterious skeletons found in the streets, possibly indicating disease or a sudden catastrophe. Another possibility? They were simply absorbed into later cultures, blending into history. Without being able to read their writing, their full story remains a mystery. Number 12, the Liangzhu culture. Around 5,000 years ago, an advanced society thrived in what is now eastern China. These people weren't just ahead of their time. They were engineering geniuses, constructing intricate water management systems and crafting exquisite jade artifacts that showcased their mastery of craftsmanship. Their irrigation networks were so advanced that some historians compare them to those of Chinese dynasties thousands of years later. For centuries, everything ran smoothly, until it didn't. The entire civilization collapsed seemingly overnight, leaving behind only ruins and unanswered questions. For a long time, no one knew why, until researchers uncovered evidence of a cataclysmic flood. Layers of sediment suggest that a massive monsoon or a sudden dam failure may have submerged their city, wiping them out in one catastrophic event. Since their writing system, if they had one, didn't survive, we have no first-hand records of their fate. All that remains are their ruins and mysterious jade relics, silent testaments to a civilization erased by nature. Some historians believe they were one of the earliest societies to master advanced water management, technology that was eventually lost to history. Number 11. Matiate Underground City. Turkey is famous for its ancient underground cities, but Matiate is on another level. Discovered in 2020 beneath the modern town of Midyat, this massive subterranean metropolis was found entirely by accident during construction work. What archaeologists uncovered was astonishing. A 2,000-year-old underground city that may have once sheltered up to 70,000 people. This was no small settlement. It had homes, places of worship, storage rooms, and everything needed for a fully functioning underground society. In fact, it's now considered the largest known underground city in the world. But why was it built? Some experts believe it served as a refuge for early Christians fleeing Roman persecution. Others argue it was a permanent settlement, with people choosing to live underground for long periods, perhaps due to war, climate changes, or resource shortages. And then, at some point, it was abandoned, sealed off, and forgotten. Did disease wipe out its inhabitants? Were they forced to relocate after an invasion? Or did something even more mysterious happen? No one knows for sure. Number 10. Kish. Once one of the most powerful cities in ancient Sumer, Kish dates back to 3100 BCE. According to the Sumerian king list, it was the first city to rise after a great flood. This was a true powerhouse, with towering ziggurats, massive temple pyramids, advanced irrigation systems, and a booming trade network. But despite all its glory, Kish eventually fell into obscurity. Why? Like many great ancient cities, it was likely hit by a mix of disasters, environmental changes, shifting trade routes, and possibly invasions. By the time Babylon took over, Kish was already a pile of ruins. Unlike Ur or Uruk, which still get plenty of attention, Kish just faded into history. Its ruins are still out there in modern Iraq, but political instability has prevented them from being explored as much as other sites. For a city that once ruled Sumer, it's shocking how few people even know it existed. Number 9. Great Zimbabwe. Well, this one is pretty sad. Between the 11th and 15th centuries, Great Zimbabwe was a powerful city-state in what is now Zimbabwe. It was the center of a massive trade network linking Africa to the Middle East and Asia, dealing in gold, ivory, and other valuable goods. Its most famous feature? The massive stone walls, built without mortar, some standing over 30 feet high, an architectural feat that amazed even modern archaeologists. But by the 16th century, Great Zimbabwe was abandoned. Theories range from overpopulation and resource depletion to political chaos. When European explorers rediscovered the ruins in the 19th century, they refused to believe that an African civilization could have built such an advanced city. This led to decades of misinformation and suppression of its history. Today, Great Zimbabwe is finally recognized as a major historical site, but its full story is still buried in the past, like D.B. Copper. Number 8. St. Thomas, Nevada. St. Thomas, Nevada was once a thriving Mormon settlement founded in 1865. It had farms, schools, and businesses, growing into a small but prosperous town. For decades, life was stable, until the Hoover Dam changed everything. When the U.S. government dammed the Colorado River, the newly created Lake Mead began to rise, swallowing the entire town. Families were forced to abandon their homes, leaving behind everything as the waters crept higher. By 1938, the last resident rode away as St. Thomas vanished beneath the lake. For decades, the town remained hidden underwater, a lost relic of the past. But as Lake Mead's water levels dropped in the 2000s, St. Thomas resurfaced. Today, its ruins lie in the Lake Mead National Recreation Area, where visitors can walk among the ghostly remains of homes, roads, and even an old schoolhouse, a drowned town that history refused to forget. Number 7. Poverty Point. Built around 1700 BCE, Poverty Point in Louisiana was one of the most advanced prehistoric settlements in North America. It featured massive earthworks, including enormous mounds and ridges arranged in precise semicircles, a feat of engineering that still baffles archaeologists. Poverty Point wasn't just a settlement, it was a major trade hub. Artifacts found on the site originate from as far as the Great Lakes and the Appalachian Mountains, proving the people who lived here had extensive trade networks. Yet, despite their success, they suddenly abandoned the site. There's no evidence of war, natural disaster, or disease to explain their disappearance. Some researchers suggest that climate changes made the area uninhabitable, forcing people to migrate. But without any written records, the true reason remains unknown. Even today, Poverty Point remains one of the most mysterious archaeological sites in North America, a lost civilization that left behind monumental earthworks, but no answers. Number 6. Niuluchong Settlement. In 2022, archaeologists uncovered something incredible in China's Yunnan province, the Niuluchong settlement, once home to the Dian culture about 2,000 years ago. The site revealed elaborate tombs filled with highly detailed bronze artifacts, proving the Dian people were wealthy and skilled metalworkers. Yet despite their prosperity, they mysteriously vanished. There are no records of a war, no signs of a natural disaster, just an eerie disappearance. However, excavations have revealed human skeletons buried in ways that suggest something sudden and catastrophic may have occurred. Was it a deadly disease? A violent conflict? A shift in the climate? No one knows for sure. Some historians speculate that a pandemic wiped them out, while others believe they were gradually absorbed into the expanding Han dynasty, their identity lost to history. One thing is certain, their civilization didn't just disappear, it was erased. Number 5. Olmecs. The Olmecs were a civilization that was once completely lost to history. Until their rediscovery in the 19th century, no one even knew they existed. But upon further investigation, archaeologists realized the Olmecs weren't just another Mesoamerican civilization. They were the foundation upon which the Maya and Aztecs built their empires. Like the Maya, the Olmecs constructed impressive stone temples and cities with ease. From 1600 BCE to 350 BCE, they controlled vast areas of Central America, shaping the region's architecture, governance, and religion. Because of this, they are often called the mother culture of Mesoamerica. But by the 3rd century BCE, their cities were abandoned. Theories suggest climate change, political unrest, or resource depletion played a role, much like what later happened to the Maya. While their civilization collapsed, their culture lived on, influencing later societies that unknowingly carried their legacy forward. Number 4. Vikings. While the Vikings were best known as raiders and warriors, they were also skilled explorers and settlers. They established colonies as far as central Russia, Newfoundland, and Greenland, making them the first Europeans to set foot in North America long before Columbus. In 985 AD, Viking settlers founded 2 thriving colonies in Greenland, which eventually housed around 3,000 people. However, by the 14th century, these settlements were abandoned, and Greenland remained untouched by Europeans for 400 years. What happened? Theories suggest a combination of factors: a drop in temperature, piracy, plague, or even a lack of fresh water. Researchers now believe that dried-up lakes left the Vikings unable to feed their livestock, leading to starvation. With harsh winters and dwindling resources, the settlers either died out or left in search of a better life. The frozen ruins of their villages remain, silent reminders of one of the Viking Age's greatest mysteries. Number 3. Khmer Empire. Deep in the Southeast Asian jungles, the Khmer Empire ruled over modern Cambodia, Laos, Thailand, and Vietnam. Founded in 802 AD, it was a trading powerhouse, linking China and India through lucrative trade routes. At its peak under Jayavarman VII in the late 12th century, the Khmer Empire saw an explosion of temple building, including the iconic Angkor Wat. They also built massive reservoirs and canals, boosting trade and agriculture. But by the 13th century, Buddhism slowly replaced Hinduism, and many Hindu temples were abandoned. Internal struggles and repeated invasions by the Thai weakened the empire. By 1431, the Khmer capital was deserted, swallowed by the jungle. Why did the empire collapse? Some blame political turmoil, climate change, or water management failures. While the Khmer civilization vanished, its architectural wonders remain, proving its former greatness. Number 2. The Anasazi. The Anasazi, ancestors of the Pueblo and Hopi, flourished in the American Southwest around 1500 BCE. They were master builders, carving entire cities into cliffs and mountains, some capable of housing thousands of people. However, something changed in the 13th century. Instead of easily accessible homes, the Anasazi began building higher up, prioritizing defense over convenience. This suggests they were under threat, possibly from war or a natural disaster. By the 14th century, the Anasazi had vanished. Theories suggest drought, resource depletion, or conflict forced them to abandon their cities. Whatever the cause, their disappearance left behind a mystery, as they had no known writing system to document their fate. Today, their breathtaking cliff dwellings at sites like Mesa Verde stand as a reminder of their once thriving civilization, one that vanished, leaving more questions than answers. Number 1. Çatalhöyük. One of the oldest known permanent settlements, Çatalhöyük in modern-day Turkey, was founded around 6,500 BCE. What started as a small village eventually grew into an early city with thousands of inhabitants. Instead of streets, homes were built directly next to each other, with rooftops acting as walkways. This design suggests an early attempt at urban planning, but also meant the city was cramped and chaotic. At its height, Çatalhöyük may have housed 8,000 people, but by 5,650 BCE, it was either abandoned or suffered a massive depopulation event. Possible reasons include natural disasters, climate change, or resource exhaustion. With no written records, Çatalhöyük remains a mystery. Though its people are long gone, the site provides an incredible glimpse into early human civilization, showing how the first cities may have looked before recorded history even began. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon in the next one.